Okay, so here's another little behind the scenes thing I thought I'd do for you. And this one where I'm going to take an existing title of mine, one of my plays, and kind of explain to you how it came to be, where the title came from, and how I came to write it. I was just working on editing some stories or some plays and putting them in a volume, and one of them is called Dead Air. So I thought, well, that's a good one. I was just working on that, and it was kind of coming back to me how I come to write it and all the elements that went into it. And first and foremost, I had the title before I think I had anything. So dead air, I don't know if you're familiar with the term dead air, but in radio, when nothing happens, when there's just silence, like here. Okay, so that was dead air. I wasn't saying anything. But on radio, it's very bad because you couldn't see that it was me sitting there spacing out, not saying anything. On radio, you can't really see. All you hear is nothing. So that's called dead air. Now, it's a great phrase and a great title, and I'm sure many murder mystery people have used it, and it's probably been in all sorts of things, but, titles you can't copyright titles, and so this was my version. So at the time, I had the title, and I started thinking about, well, what can I do? Elements started coming into, my wife and I were going to different thrift stores and antique stores, and the ones we were going into in the St. Louis area always had music playing. And it wasn't just like canned music or anything. It was actual radio stations that they had on a radio, like an old antique radio they were trying to sell. And it would be these radio stations that were locked in this format of playing old music for older people, old things like the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the instrumental, the Mitch Millers, the Ray Conniff singers, that format. And I remember thinking at the time, that's really sad that these guys are like locked in this because that's their demographic, and it's got to be getting smaller and smaller all the time. How do they ever evolve? How do they ever get out of playing just those songs and that type of music? That kind of stuck and I thought, okay, it's a good idea. There's a radio station that can't get out of their current format and, evolve. And what if some big corporate giant came in and bought them and was forcing them to, play things from 2 weeks ago, or whatever. So that idea I had. Now another thing that kind of also melded in there is like when I was working at night, sometimes I would be driving home, and to keep myself awake and keep myself alert, I would try to find some weird AM call-in shows, things where people are calling in and saying, you won't believe this, there's monkeys living into my driveway, and I'm feeding them with a straw at night so no one can see. I'm like, what? So, that would wake me up. That would keep me awake, listening to these people. And there were certain personalities in the St. Louis at the time, that were late night talk show guys that were, they had big personalities, and so that I had, along with the radio station, the big personality. And the third thing is, one guy in St. Louis that was very popular from like the 50s on into the 80s, and every year he would have an anniversary show, live anniversary show. And at the time at the Playhouse that he had the anniversary show, I worked. I was an usher there, and I got to watch them do the show like every day. He would do it, and he had people come in, like celebrities came in. Tom Poston from the Newhart Show at the time actually came in and did the show with him for a couple of days, and they did sketches, like old radio sketches and bits and bobs and this and that, and it was great watching this guy. And got that element, live anniversary show, big personality talk show guy, late night type thing. Put that together on a format of a radio station that can't evolve, that can't get out of its current thing. Maybe some corporate giant that's coming in forcing change to happen, and we'll call it Dead Air. And so that's basically what I did. I wrote a play, a murder mystery about a live anniversary radio show that's going on. The setting can be wherever, your theater, your cafeteria, your banquet hall, whatever. And it's as if they're doing a live broadcast from this location. And it's got the big personality, the guy. He's got a couple of sidekicks, like old-time radio. The music that they play is like really old and dated. And there's a threat of they're going to be bought out by this corporate giant who's there that night watching it. And during the live anniversary show, what happens is someone, gets seemingly killed during one of the commercials live on the air. And the thing the station manager notices, of course, that now that this is happening, their ratings are suddenly going up, and it's great, so they're going to milk it for everything they've got with this murder mystery and just kind of play the whole thing out. So that's basically the whole premise of that. And I just thought it was kind of interesting, like I said, as I was doing this, is like, here's like 3 different elements that were like 20, 30 years in the making that I had stuck in my brain. The thing with the old-time radio programs, to the thing where I used to work and I was an usher and I'd watch the anniversary show, and the big personalities that were around the time, and taking all of those things and molding them together, and then putting the title Dead Air that I had on top of it, and boom, there you go. That explains that title, and that's how that came to be. And I'm sure there'll be more that may be more interesting or less interesting. Who knows? You don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so there's that. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.